When it was revealed that WWE figures would be joining the SH Figuarts line, I was beyond excited. For years I have complained about and critiqued out Mattel for their handling of the WWE line and their lack of innovation, but here is a company that I trust making WWE toys. I knew I'd finally get everything I wanted with a WWE figure. Multiple heads, hands, cool accessories, articulation that would actually allow the figure to do its signature moves, as well as a great likeness. But that all comes at a price, 3 times that of an Elite. Is this Stone Cold Steve Austin figure worth the $60? Let's check it out. The packaging for this figure is great. It has a whole bunch of pictures of Stone Cold, and I really dig the ice-infused typeface and cool palette. There's a whole bunch of Stone Cold quotes as well as Japanese writing, but I have no idea what it actually says. Probably revealing all the great mysteries of life and the cosmos, but I can't read it, so I don't know. The packaging is also collector friendly, so after you remove the tape, you can take the figure out and throw it back in as many times as you want. It's all good. If you only know WWE Mattel figures, you'll be shocked at how short this is. The figure is just under 6 inches. Stone Cold's height is listed as 6 feet 1 inch, so I don't know what scale this is. I'm not very good at math, but close to 1/12 or something like that. Personally, for me, I really like the Figuarts and Figma scale, so the size doesn't bother me. The issue I have with Mattel is that they're pretty much in a league of their own, only being in scale with other Mattel toys and maybe some NECA. Figuarts, though, works well with nearly all of the Japanese import figures, allowing you to have fun crossovers that work because of the scale. Overall, though, I think that this guy looks great. The likeness is there as well as his body proportions. I know some people are irked by the Articulation scheme's aesthetic, but I'll discuss that later. Another benefit of these figures is that they don't have to be PG like Mattel. This is a certain expletive on the back, as well as the ability to recreate Stone Cold's classic hand gestures. One issue I have with this figure is that the faces are printed on the sculpt or something like that, which makes it so that the face doesn't really match the plastic. It's really odd, but unless you're looking at it up close, you probably won't notice. Or maybe you will and it'll really bother you. Accessories? This guy comes loaded with them. 3 alternate heads, 2 extra sets of hands, and 2 cans with liquid coming out of them. This is great because you can create some amazing scenes with the figure. Whether it's Stone Cold celebrating after a match, or whether it's Stone Cold busting out a fantastic stunner in the middle of a ring, or doing some sultry anime-style scenes, these accessories allow you to create some amazing moments. Now let's compare this to a Mattel figure. Obviously the Elite is way less expensive. It's taller, has less articulation, and less detail. The decals on the vests, though, seem to be of the same quality, which is surprising and pretty great, to be honest. Good job, Mattel. But when you compare the detail on the head, it's night and day. There's no question that the Figuarts scream Stone Cold, while the Mattel is a bit more of a whimper. It's there, but when you have it next to the Figuarts, it just doesn't look that great. I previously mentioned how easy it is to do the stunner with the Figuarts, but luckily with the limited articulation, the Mattel can also hit a solid stunner. But if you try some other moves, you'll start getting some difficulty and really realize the limitations of the articulation. And in regards to the articulation aesthetic, I hear that many people think that the Figuart looks ugly. Here's a comparison between a basic and Elite and the Figuart. In my opinion, I think that an action figure should be able to move, and that visible articulation shouldn't be an issue. If you want seamless figures, you can grab a statue or a Fiken. And I don't really want a Fiken wrestler figure, if you know what I'm talking about. I'd say that the basic has less visible articulation, but when you compare the Figuart to the Elite, they are pretty similar. I think people are just used to the Elite articulation visuals, so it's not as jarring. The only difference is that the Figuarts has more observable articulation on the chest, while the Elite has more in the legs. Let's talk about the actual articulation of the Figuart, though, right now.
Alright, I'm taking it off of voiceover for just a few minutes, maybe a few seconds, to show you some of the articulation in this figure that you don't usually get with WWE wrestling figures. Now, I know I hate showing articulation in my videos, but I figured it's very important for this guy. So, cool thing here is you can actually articulate the neck. Some people might be bothered that you can really see that there, but you can do a lot more with his head and the neck there, which is very interesting. He doesn't have any swivels on the arm, which I know some people are upset about. I would have liked that, but it certainly doesn't create, like, you look at the Elite and you can definitely see that that's a swivel, where it looks a bit more natural on the Figuarts. And this arm pops off quite easily on mine, but I'm not upset about that because I think it's actually there to do that so that you can easily pop on and pop off his vest. And then at the elbow, there is a double bend, something I've been crying about so long. And just look at that range of motion you get with that, and then compare it to what you get on an Elite. Yeah, look at that. Look at the difference. Crazy, right? Yeah, look at all that. Moves a little more, but in practicality, that's really great. And then the wrist, you get rotation and bends based on where you rotate and stuff, which is pretty cool. So let's say you want to rotate it like a fist going up. Oh, and then there is a swivel actually right here at the elbow, which is pretty cool. And as I was showing you, you can rotate the swivel and stuff like that on the inside, which is crazy cool depending on how you want his hand to be. I don't know if that's really coming across on this video, but that's a level of articulation we didn't have before. And let me take off the jacket. It looks like this is a butterfly joint, and I am getting some movement, but not a ton, if you can see that there. I would have liked more, but beggars can't be choosers. And then there is a diaphragm joint, so you can move him up and down. There is rotation. Oh, I just broke it. All right, so the thing about Figuarts is that they're often really based on how humans can move instead of how an action figure can move. That's the difference between this and, say, the Elite, because in the Elite you can do that, and we can't do that as humans. So this, you gotta just move it like a human would, or else it just pops out if you move it too far. So you're gonna have to be careful with that, stuff like that. I'm not getting as much movement as I want there, but can kind of fake it, but then it's showing some. Not getting the range of motion that I would like to see at the waist, but with the head moving and stuff like that, I'm sure you can get stuff done. And if not, you can just kind of do it like that, but looks pretty weird because his tights don't move too. At the leg, can do a slight split like that, nothing crazy. His legs move up, his legs move back. There is rotation in there. At the knee, there is a double bend, and it moves so much farther than an Elite double bend, I think. Yes, you can see that there. It's at a better angle. And then at the feet, there is toe articulation, which is very cool. Up and down, and then slight rocker pivot, which is awesome and something that I think wrestling figures need. And I always complain about Mattel's lack of articulation and stuff like this because they're wrestlers. We want to recreate their signature moves, and Stone Cold, his signature move, is very simple to replicate with the Elite, but this Stone Cold, you can do so much more. You can do the Stone Cold Stunner and other wrestling moves, so you're not just stuck with him just standing in a straight pose. You can do fun things with it. Where in the Elite, you're kind of stuck with their archaic articulation, but it's really nice to finally see an upgraded WWE figure with a lot of articulation.
And you might have been wondering, do the belts from the Mattel WWE figures fit on this guy? Well, they do, but they're a bit oversized, but as the great Tim Gunn says, you can make it work. Also, the vest works a lot better than the championship titles, so you can definitely swap out vests on this guy with the Mattel, and it should look pretty good. Yo, so let's wrap this up. This is the best Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure. Is it worth $60? Depends on if you want it or not. It might not be in scale with the rest of your other figures, but no other Stone Cold figure features this amount of articulation, accessories, and spunk. It's fantastic. It blows all other Mattel figures out of the water. I bet there are going to be a lot of people who are so embedded into the Mattel ecosystem who won't even consider picking up this figure, as well as some Mattel apologists who will complain about the scale or the price, but this is hands down the best Stone Cold Steve Austin action figure. Thank you. See you later.